Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, first of all, thank you very much for joining me all week on Magic TV. Really appreciate it. For people that have said they've picked up my book, Absolute Magic, Absolute Madness even, thank you very much. For those people that have continued to be positive about the Atomic Deck, again, thank you very much. You're getting my raw and filtered opinions on this Q&A, which basically means I haven't read the questions beforehand. I haven't prepared to answer these questions. If I think that a question needs a longer answer, I will defer it and I'll create a video specifically about that subject. And you want to try and get your questions in ideally by a Tuesday or a Wednesday at the latest. Today is Thursday. I'm filming this on a Thursday. That's quite late for me. So try to get the questions in as soon as possible. And once again, as I said, and I say this every week, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I genuinely would not be doing Magic TV if it wasn't for you guys watching at home. So the fact that you watch this means that I can continue to do it. So thank you very much. And without further ado, it's time to get onto some questions with this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from... Wow. Okay, Sean Undertrack, who says, question, this is a bit lengthy, and I really don't know if this is a question, but I'd like your thoughts. I'm confused as to what people expect from a new trick released on the market, and combine that with what my job is as a magician and an entertainer. I've just received the Atomic Deck in the mail, but personally think that Big Blind might be the best trick you've ever released. Thank you. I was at a bar when I was doing Big Blind for the bartender. I was 2 chips into the trick, and she walked away to serve drinks to the other patrons in the bar. She walked off, taking both chips with her in her hand with her. When she came back to me, I noticed that the of chip was turned the wrong way around in her hand. Long story short, turned longer. I was able to make eye contact. I grabbed the chip, reversed it while making some comment about something, finished the trick, and she was absolutely dumbstruck. I tell the story because I get so frustrated by some comments and the reviews of new tricks being released. I feel like if I went to a shop and bought a hammer, some nails and some lumber, and then went online to complain that the cabinet didn't build itself. I don't know if there's a perfect trick. So my job is to interpret the environment, to understand that anything at any time will go wrong, be able to adjust, ad-lib, and go with the flow. All I ask is that creators such as yourself be transparent as possible with the products they're releasing. So do you wish more creators were forthcoming with the methods, or at least the constraints that their new products have? Also, do we have to give up and give in that some people just want to hate on and be negative towards certain creators, themes, and effects? It's a great question, man. Really, really, really great question. I can only speak from personal experience. I do tend to find that a lot of the stuff that I have come out will be very popular with a big percentage of people, but there's a small minority that no matter what I do, they will pick at it. So Big Blind, you say it's the best trick I ever did. If you look at the Magic Cafe, which I think is now on about 16 pages, you'll see the first 10 pages of people just being very negative about Big Blind. That's kind of been eclipsed because compared to Atomic Deck, it was all love and roses, but when Big Blind came out, people were hating on it. If you remember, it got released at Magifest, kind of unofficially before it came out, and people were posting on the cafe going, this is terrible. The chips are plastic, they don't look like real chips. You know, there's a noise issue, there's this, there's that, there's the other, and that made people go in the cafe and go, oh, Murphy said, they jumped to conclusion, Murphys are terrible, their quality control is awful, why is it they half-arse everything, they did it with decks, they're doing it again with Big Blind, this is the worst trick. You have people going, this is the worst trick I've ever seen. They haven't even seen it. The trailer wasn't even released at that point, but it's the worst trick they've ever seen. And the thing is, I think the default, and maybe it's because there's so much magic comes out, I don't know. Maybe it happens just to me because, you know, I'm a polarizing figure. Some people don't like me. Maybe it's that I release a lot of magic. But the default is, let's find something to pick at. And if one person says something negative, it's kind of like everybody assumes that. Here's the interesting thing, right? And I've seen this happen. When a review comes out, if it's a negative review, a lot of the Magic community will jump on there and saying, thank you for telling the truth. It's so refreshing to find a channel that will tell the truth. Oh, you're so brave making this review. But if it's a positive review, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, you're mates with the creator. It's almost like they want the controversy, they want the negativity, they're hoping that it's not going to be very good so that people can pile on. And it was the same with Big Blind. Like I say, people started off by saying how terrible it was, and it was only when it started coming out and people actually got them in their hands that the positive reviews started coming through. And people started saying, actually, I've got this, it's really good, I've got this. Yeah, they're plastic chips, but that doesn't make a difference. So yeah, I understand. I think that I think that there's just an overarching negativity. I found that with my channel. If me and Ryland do a review and we're negative about a trick, it will get massively more views than a review that's positive. It just will. Let's have a look at unbiased magic reviews, for example. Now, I'm not saying anything about David. David is very good. I don't want anyone saying, oh, Craig's slagging off David. No, I'm not. I'm not at all. Please don't think I am, because that's not the case. But let's have a look at videos, and let's look at the most popular. Boom. Most popular. So the most popular videos so David's very, very knowledgeable. So he's got like some videos on, you know, top 5 propless mentalism effects. That's not really a review. Top 5 mentalism props. They're all popular, as they should be. Top 5 mentalism effects of 2019. Again, very popular. But then when you look at reviews of single products, the first one is Why I'm Not Buying Enigma by Christian Grace. Boom. It's a negative review. Gets high ratings. Then he's got, he's got one on Inject. I don't know if that's positive or negative. I haven't looked at it. Then the next one, regarding Lloyd Barnes and his full statements, and it's all the controversy about decks and God knows what, and all of that sort of stuff. And then there's another one about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9th most popular. Don Juan debunks Lloyd Barnes. So, you know, and then you've got the review of decks, the bad review of decks, which is in there as well. And you look at these latest videos, you know, the review he did on the Atomic deck, Dupe City, almost 2,000 views. The one he did on the Atomic deck, the original review, over 5,000 reviews, over 5,000 views, sorry. And then you look at some of the other ones that he's reviewed in the past. You know, he did the lecture, he's normally on about 1,000 or something, 1,000, 2,000, you know. And it's the same with that. It's the same with my channel. It's the same with a lot of people's channels. Negativity is more interesting than positivity. So, you know, it's not just that I use David because he's a very prolific reviewer. A lot of people know who he is. I've got nothing negative to say about him at all. But it's a perfect example. I can do the same thing with Magic TV. I bet you the most popular videos on Magic TV on the review playlist are probably the ones where we've been negative about something. It's just the way it is. I think people like negativity. People like controversy in the Magic community. They like piling on about it and that sort of thing. And also I think that it's easy for people to, when somebody leaves a negative review of something, it's easy for them, without having it themselves, to go, I knew that would be terrible, or whatever the case may be. It's difficult as a creator because you put so much time and effort into creating a magic trick. You know, I spent years putting, the Big Blind was like 4 years in the making, and we went through lots of different prototypes, including, you know, talking very, 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 very serious discussions about making them out of clay, and we chose not to for a variety of different reasons. You know, and we went to plastic. We thought plastic was better. I still think plastic's better. Yeah. And in terms of creators being more forthcoming with methods, I like to feel that I am. I expose every single trick that comes out. I talk openly about the methods behind every single trick I do. I know with the Atomic deck, people have said, well, the trailer's misleading. I've done videos about that. I don't need to address that here. I try to be as transparent as I can. And I've had arguments with production companies I've worked for because I've wanted to be very, very transparent. They haven't wanted me to. And it's caused friction a little bit, to be honest. But I'd rather go down that route and have people know what they're getting than kind of opening it up and getting a surprise. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. You're right, it's not a question. It's just an interesting thing to debate. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. I just think people gravitate more towards negativity. And a lot of the time, they'll make comments on stuff without actually owning it themselves. You know, that's the thing that happens an awful lot. If somebody gets a whiff of how a trick works, they feel qualified to talk about how that trick is good or bad based on nothing more than hearsay and innuendo. You know, I think that as a reviewer, you should own the product and have performed the product that you're reviewing before you review it. At least that's just my opinion. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, who says, "Hi Craig, I love the bag reborn. Thank you. It really is a utility device, and I cannot believe how much value for money I've got with this release. Thank you. Question, do you know of any similar but bigger bags, a vanishing production bag with a mesh side for stage performances?" Absolutely. The one that you want to go for is the Lightning Bag by Cody Fisher. Now, I believe it's only available on Cody's website. It's called the Lightning Bag. It's by Cody Fisher. It's basically exactly the same principle as the Bag Reborn, but much bigger. It's much, much bigger, so it can hold a big load. Ryland does in his show, the one card trick that Ryland does in his show is he does the invisible deck with a jumbo deck of cards. And he has this lightning bag set up, so where the coin would be, he's got a jumbo deck of cards. He reaches into the bag, takes out the invisible jumbo deck, goes through basically goes through the invisible deck presentation, and then when they throw the cards back, he catches them in the bag, and people see them land in the bag. And you can use it for anything. It's basically a giant bag reborn. So it's called the Lightning Bag. You can only get it from Cody's website. So go onto Cody's website, look for the Lightning Bag. He ships worldwide. That is exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so the next question is from Far8896. Hello, how you doing? And it says, "Hi Craig, hope you're doing well. Yes, thank you very much. I have a fun question for you this week. With the numerous magic releases you've produced, have you ever seen, either in person or online, someone performing your tricks in a professional setting? If so, any memorable performances? Maybe one that left you in awe of how great it was, or one where you wanted to grab their shoulders and scream, did you even watch the tutorial? Thanks again." I've seen lots of people perform my tricks, an awful lot. I remember watching Jasper Cherry, who, was on Britain's Got Talent and America's Got Talent. He was on the Bear Pit at Blackpool a few years ago. And I remember him performing the cards across from Visible, my product on the Invisible deck from 1914. And he did that as part of his set. And I remember people, I remember watching it and people, and just being so proud of the fact that there's this, really awesome, talented kid, at the time he was a kid, doing this trick that I've invented. And I've seen lots of people, as I say, over the years perform my material. Again, Jasper Cherry doing some of the routines from Cheeky on America's Got Talent was a wonderful moment, an absolutely incredible moment. And I loved that very, very much. I have seen Killian O'Connor do a lot of my material. I've seen Near Everett. A lot of the younger magicians I've seen do my material. I love it. The quantum deck, not the atomic deck, the quantum deck, was done on TV on the Ellen Show. And I remember seeing that performance of it being done on the Ellen Show, and I was really super, super happy about that, because that was during a lot of the controversy, and I was like, it's so great to see somebody actually going out and doing it, and that was fun. I remember years ago, like we're going years back, on one of his very first TV specials, Dynamo doing Keymaster. And that was really surprising to see that Dynamo did Keymaster. I was like, really? I wasn't expecting that. He did it very, very differently to me, but it was great to see Dynamo do, my trick on, well, he's not Dynamo anymore, but at the time he was. That was super fun. I've seen people butcher my tricks as well, and I've not said anything, because at the end of the day, it makes no difference. I'm sure I've butchered a few people's tricks as well. I know I have. It was good. It was good. I've seen a lot of people. Warren Treadaway, if you don't follow Warren Treadaway on YouTube, you really should do so. He performs a lot of my material at various events, and I've seen him perform it online as well. He typically does them better than me, so that's always fun. But yeah, it's a great question. I have seen lots of people do my material, and it always makes me very happy. Okay, so the next question is from Andy Putt, who says, last week I was late, but now I'm in time with questions, I hope. Yes, you are, Andy. Let's go for it. I know that this is not a question about magic, but it was pure magic, and I need your opinion. Elimination Chamber had the Cena heel turn after 22 years of being a good guy. What did you think about this? And what did you think about the event? I think it was the best pay-per-view in a long time, and they'll have trouble to up this with WrestleMania. Also, Randy Orton and his punt kick made a comeback, and I can't wait for Randy Orton 2009 comeback. Yeah, I thought it was one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in a long time. I've watched it twice now. That heel turn by Cena was absolute perfection, and this is what WWE are doing so well right now, and this is why they are head and shoulders ahead of any other company, in my opinion. because it's so cinematic. It's so cinematic. Like if you actually look at that heel turn and you look at the camera shots that they've got and where they've got them, that moment where you've got the hug but you're seeing the face change, all of those moments is great. I mean, this is something that people have been wanting for years. I never thought I would see it happen, and I'm really glad it has. And you know, I'm really glad for John Cena as well, because I've seen interviews with him in the past, and you know, he's talked about how he wished he'd turned heel, and this is his last year as an active wrestler, and I really do think it is his last year as well. The fact that he's getting to do something different with his run, really kind of, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very different. It's going to be more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I also think that this kind of solidifies Cody Rhodes as the #1 babyface, at least for a long time to come. They never turned Cena before because they needed him to sell tickets, but now they know they don't. So this is probably why they've pulled the trigger on it. I think it's great. I think it's absolutely awesome, and I cannot wait for WrestleMania. Okay, so the next question number 2 by Andy Putt. He says, did you at Blackpool make a plan to lecture in the Netherlands with someone like Sven? I know I ask every other week, but it shows the importance of some petty power over here. I am speaking to Sven. I am doing some work for Sven. I am doing a tutorial for his new coin sets, and I would absolutely love and adore to go and lecture over in the Netherlands. And, you know, 2025, watch this space. I think it could happen. Okay, so the next question again from Andy Putt is best reels. I have the Raven and Nickel Capo is a freaking god with that, but are there any other reels without a magnet that you'd recommend? Seen something about the Covert reel and Uday Jaguar, but I don't know if that's the one. I don't really use reels, to be honest, Andy. It's not something I do. I'm not a reel guy, never have been. Henry Evans has got some great work on reels. Some of the stuff he does is very different to anything else. Have a look at his first DVD set through L&L Publishing, which you can now get as a download, and you'll see the sort of thing that I'm talking about. But I think you're right. Nick Lecapo and the Raven, I don't think that there's anybody better at using a Raven than Nick. And I think that if you're ever going to get a reel, at least in my opinion, you should get a Raven, because what Nick does with it is pure magic. Okay, so the next question is, again, from Andy Putt. You said you were working on tricks with bank cards. Do you know a place where you can let them make specific prototype bank cards for a trick? Or aren't you involved in that part of the process? Can you imagine, stroke the need for prototypes for your trick and project? Yeah, so I've got a few different things coming out with bank cards over the coming year or two. And you want to, I went to the plastic card company, which is in the UK. They make all of my prototypes. So a lot of the time, I prototype stuff before I go to production companies. Not always. The Atomic Deck is a perfect example where they got the prototype for me. But typically, I will try to get the prototype so I can show them exactly what it is that I've got in mind. And anytime I do something with credit cards, this company, the plastic card company, are great, because I can go in and I can say, right, I need this. They do free artwork for me, so I can have them design it exactly as I want. I can go back and forth numerous times. They understand what I need, so they can make sure it's legally compliant as well, and there's no information on there that shouldn't be on there. They know how to make it look as much like a bank card as they can. And they're very reasonably priced as well. It's not the price you'd want to pay for every single unit, but as prototyping, it's great. Okay, so the next question is from Caleb D'Amico, who says, hey Craig, Spectrum Sharpie looks great. Thank you very much, man. I saw Spectrum Sharpie is from TCC. What are your favourite TCC products that someone might want to include in their Spectrum Sharpie purchase if they were wanting free shipping? Also, different question, have you heard of the DVD called Live at the Jailhouse? And if so, what do you think of it? I heard it's a great resource if you're serious about getting into restaurant magic. Yeah, Live at the Jailhouse was great. From memory, it had Cos on there. Cosmo's stuff was brilliant. I'm pretty sure that there's a signed coin in sugar packet on there that is like one of the best restaurant tricks ever. Also, you had Justin Miller on there, I think. Justin had some great stuff, but, you know, it was very young Justin Miller, and he did a lot of restaurant work back in the day. I'm pretty sure you had Dan Tong, I think, was on there as well. Yeah, it's a great set. If you're into restaurant work, then absolutely Live at the Jailhouse is wonderful. In terms of TCC tricks that people might want to buy, I've reviewed a lot of TCC tricks. My favourite one is, I'm just Googling their website. My favourite one is is it Grandmother's Necklace or something? Grandmother's thing? I don't know. Something about grandmother's thing. The linking rings are great if you're into linking rings. Ryland uses their linking rings in his show, every single show. A lot of David Penn stuff is great. You know, he's just brought out his Topic 180, which is wonderful. That's really good. The shot glass thing, where you produce a shot glass, that's really good. What else have we got? That's really, the shot glass is really good. The linking rings are really good. David Penn's original Mystery Solved is great. X-Lite, Ryland uses that in every single show as part of his Harry Potter act. The M-Box Luxury Set is one of the best sets of coin boxes you'll ever see. They brought out Time Cube, which is also in Ryland's show. Every single show, Ryland uses that. Grandma's Miracle, which is their version of the grandmother's necklace. That's brilliant. The Sven album is really good as well. I can highly recommend that. What else can I see? Their SpongeBall's really good. Yeah, that's what springs instantly to mind. I know they've done more stuff, but from the top of my head, those are the ones that I'd recommend that spring to mind. Okay, so the next question is from Yuri, who says, "Hey Craig, it's been a while. Hope you and your family are doing fine." I'm very well, my friend. I hope you are well. I had a quick question. I hoped you could answer it for me. What effects do you do when you've got absolutely nothing on you, not even a phone, and someone asks you to do a trick? Curious what you think. Okay, well, that's a great trick. That's a great question. Typically, if I didn't have a phone on me, if I didn't have any of my everyday carry on me, I would borrow some coins. I'd borrow 4 or 5 coins, and I would go into some coin magic. I have like a 10-minute set that I can do with just borrowed coins, whether they be 10 pences or pound coins or whatever. Typically, if I can borrow some coins, I could probably do a really cool 10 to 15-minute set. So if I've got nothing on me at all, I will definitely do coin magic. Although there was one time somebody said to me, "Hey, can you do some magic?" I had nothing on me. It was in a van hire place because I was hiring a van, and they had a ball of string, and I was like, "Cut me off a piece of string," and they did. And I said, "Can I borrow that ring?" And I did a ring and string routine. But that was like the one-time thing. They had some string on their desk, so I was like, "Hey, let's try this." But typically, I borrow some coins and I do some coin magic. Okay, so the next question again is again from Yuri, who says, "Another question, what tips could you give somebody who needs to make flight time but still gets nervous or doesn't know where to begin with approaching people, for example? Thanks again for all the effort you put in, the atomic deck and the book. I've got both of them, and they're both mind-blowing." Thank you very much, Yuri. Okay, so what do I do? You need flight time, but you get nervous or you don't know how to approach people. My attitude, buddy, is just to rip the band-aid off and just go for it. Honestly, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And you know what? Nerves are good. I've done videos on this before. If you're nervous, it means you care. If you couldn't care less of the outcome, you wouldn't be nervous. You're nervous, it means that you care. And that's a good thing. The way to break out of your comfort zone is to push yourself outside of that comfort zone. Go up to people that you don't know and start off slowly. So start off just performing to your family and friends. Then go up to, then go to an event where you've got friends there, but there's other people that you might not know that are friends of your friends, and show some magic to them, and then, build up from there. So you're kind of taking baby steps into it as well. And also have some self-working stuff with you. There's certain tricks that I do, and I know no matter how nervous I am, if I do those tricks, I'm going to be absolutely fine because it's going to calm me down. It's going to chill me out. There's certain tricks in my repertoire that are my 1,000 timers that I know I can do inside out, back to front, upside down, left way, sideways. Find out what those tricks are. And if you haven't got tricks like that, find some self-working tricks that you enjoy performing that you can use. Because to be honest, if you go in, a lot of the time when you're nervous because you're worried about the trick going wrong. If you can find tricks that you don't think would ever go wrong, that will immediately be taken out of your head. So that's what I would recommend. Over and above anything else, just try your absolute best to find tricks that you can go out and do that are not going to make you nervous. Ones that you know are going to work 100% of the time. And then force yourself to go up to people that you don't know and show them the trick. Because it's the same with anything. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. And the first time you do it, you're going to feel so nervous. The first time somebody walks out on stage, they're nervous. The second time, the third time, the fourth time, eventually they get used to it, right? And it's the same with you. You go up to a group of people, you're going to be nervous. Push yourself through that and try and show them a trick. So the second time, you're going to be maybe slightly less nervous. You keep doing it until you feel more confident. And as I say, you know, I've said it before, I will say it again. If it's easy, everybody would be doing it. It's not easy. So there's two types of people in the world. People that make things happen and people that basically watch things happen. Don't be a watcher, be a doer. Okay, so the next question is from Radio Man J, who says, hello, Craig. Hello, Radio Man. Since you have so many magic-themed tattoos, here comes a question. What can you do with tattoos besides revelations and matching routines? Any cool ideas to share? Well, B. Smith had a really nice rising card with a tattoo where you would have a tattoo. Well, he used a Sharpie, but you could use a tattoo of a pack of cards, and you'd draw this, you know, you'd have this tattoo of this pack of cards on your arm, and then you'd say, watch the top, and you'd do like a rising card with the picture of the card coming out of the tattoo, and then everything's examinable. That's a really cool thing to do. These tattoos here are of silver dollars. You can do coin productions from those. You know, I've actually got a way of making those things disappear. So there's lots of other things you can do. The easiest thing to do with tattoos, in all honesty, are matching effects and predictions and revelations and that sort of stuff, because that is the easiest thing to do, and it's literally hidden in plain sight. But there are other things that you can do with tattoos as well, if that makes sense. Okay, we got another question from Sean Anjachak, who says, it's been a while since I asked a question, and I have a couple this week. What's the best way to request a product review? Is it here or on the review show? Sometimes there are products that fall through the cracks or what may seem outdated. Yeah, the best way to request a review is to drop it on here. This is a good place to drop it. Or drop it on one of the review shows. We do read the comments, and if people... So we've got a review show that we're filming tomorrow, me and Rhinand, and one of the items on there is an older item that we'd never heard of before that we were asked to review. So we reviewed it, and it's kind of interesting for us as well. So yeah, if you want a review, if there's something you want us to review and you think, hey, they're probably not going to review it because it's fallen through the cracks, we're not all about the latest and greatest trick. You know, you'll see that a lot of channels will get their reviews out before us because we want to sit down and learn it before we actually film the review show. So, you know, yeah, just leave it in the comments to this video or in the comments to a review show, and we will get to it. Okay, so Sean Anjachak has asked another question about John Cena. What do I think his heel turn? Personally, I think it's great, and I'm happy to see him headline a WrestleMania after his historic career. Like I said earlier, I think it's amazing. John Cena is always the GOAT as far as I'm concerned, and I cannot wait to see this side of his character over the course of the next year. Okay, so the next question is from Michael Stager, who says, hi Craig, I understand this is a very hard question, but I love the idea of theatrical magic, and that's my end goal as a magician, to be a theatre magician like Penn and Teller. What's the best route for a magician whose goal is purely parlour and stage magic? I love close-up magic, but I feel more connected and confident on a stage. Thank you. Hope you're well. Yes, I'm very well. Thank you very much. So, yeah, I mean, Ryland's gone down this route as well. Ry pretty much does stage. He likes close-up, but he pretty much does stage. There's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is, I would genuinely, seriously consider joining a amateur dramatic kind of group. Join improv classes, Amdram, stuff like that, because learning improv and learning comedy is a big part to being a magician. But the other thing it does is it's a networking opportunity. You're networking with other people who potentially perform, other performers. So by putting yourself into that situation, you're going to open some doors for you, because when they're putting together shows, they're going to be looking to inside their circle. And if you're inside the circle, it's going to, you know, it's going to be really good for you. So yeah, the first thing that I would say is join, you know, some sort of Amdram society. It'll give you more chance to perform. And then on that, go and perform everywhere you can. Just get as many opportunities as you can to perform. And that involves, like going to comedy clubs. Even if you don't think you're funny, put yourself out there. Go over to as many comedy clubs as you can. The next thing that I would suggest is contact, retirement villages and offer a chance to go and do your show for free in retirement villages. You want to go out and perform as much as you can. And one of the things I did when I started putting my show together is I went to the Brighton Fringe. So fringe shows are great. You can do the Brighton Fringe, you can do the Edinburgh Fringe. You're not going there to make money. You'll probably lose money. I know I lost money. But you're going there to showcase who you are and what you do. So fringe shows are a brilliant way of doing that. Any of those work. But yeah, I mean, the key thing is put yourself out there. Get as much experience as possible. Get as much flight time as possible. Find a bar or a restaurant, that ideally a magic themed one where you can become a resident performer. So Ryland has become one of the resident performers at the House of Secrets in Blackpool. And that's because he's there all of the time and they're giving him lots of opportunities, which is just brilliant. So, just basically get a chance to perform everywhere. You go and do some street busking, do some street theatre. Let people see who you are. You know, I know there's a lot of people that make a name for themselves in this industry and start off by performing on the streets and then they progress to something else. So all of these techniques are going to work. You're going to have to hustle. It's not going to be easy, but you can go out there and you can do it if you put 110% in. Okay, the next question is from Kev Dog 327, who says, "Hey Craig, I was wondering how you deal with kids who think they know how to do magic because they got a set for their birthday." Well, if they think they know how to do magic, then they probably know how to do some simple tricks. So the way to deal with it is to just blow their ever-loving mind. And only do that if they're being a pain. If they're following you around at a strolling gig and they're going, "Oh, I'm a magician as well, I know how to do this," then maybe you need to kind of do something. But a lot of the time, just encourage it. So if they're coming up to you and they go, "Oh, I'm a magician as well, I've got a magic set," you go, "Brilliant, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I tell you what, at the end, perhaps you could show me a trick. And then perhaps I'll teach you how to do another trick so you've got another one in your repertoire. Would that be good?" "Yeah, okay. I'll grab you before the end of the night," and then go up to them at the end of the night and show them a trick. That, a lot of the time, is the way to win somebody over. If you go up to them and, you say to them, "Hey, you're a magician, that's amazing. Show me a trick," that would work. But if you're getting like a kid that's being an asshole and, they're running around and they're talking about how, "Oh, I'm the best magician in the world, blah, 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 blah." The way to deal with it is to just show them something that's going to blow their mind. Just show them something. "What type of magic do you do?" "Card magic." "Okay, watch this." Boom, take a card. "Brilliant. Look, I've turned it in the air. It's turned into a dove, and the dove has pooped out a card, and it's your card." Boom. That's what I do. Just make it really, show them that there's levels to being a magician, and show them that what you do is far and beyond what they do. That's if they're being a little shitbag. But if they're not and they're just wanting to share their experiences with you, just let them. Okay, so the next question is from Jesse Lazonda 9000, who says, "Hi Craig, I'm new into magic and interested in close-up, cards, sponge, coin magic, etc. I've looked into the beginner sets, however a lot of these seem to be aimed at children. One of the ones that looks promising is the trilogy set by Michael Amar, but there's so much out there which feels quite overwhelming. Have you got any thoughts on starting points for me learning some solid close-up magic? Thank you for all you do. Really enjoying your videos, and it motivates me more into getting into magic." Okay, I could go down the route of saying join the Netrix, because there's literally thousands of videos on the Netrix, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tricks, and they're divided into difficulty rating, and they're divided into categories like coins and cards and sponge balls and mentalism and everything. I could go down that route, but I won't. Although you should join the Netrix. But if you don't want to join the Netrix for some reason, and you want to learn magic, you could go far worse than getting some of the Michael Amar sets. If Michael Amar has a set of a download, which has just come out as a download, because it used to be a DVD set, called the Michael Amar Easy to Master Coin Magic series and the Michael Amar Easy to Master Card Magic series. Buy those. They're not expensive. There's tons of tricks on there. It comes with gimmicks, but a lot of it just uses a regular deck of cards. So you could go and do that absolutely fine. Yeah, just watch a lot of magic on YouTube. That's the most important thing. Watch a lot of magic on YouTube. Find the magic that really resonates with you. Find the magic that you go, yeah, you know what, I really like this guy, and see if he's got any magic that's out on the market. Find the type of magic that you like doing. I loved coin magic, so I always gravitated towards coin magic. Find the sort of thing that you do. That's the most important thing. Don't worry too much about beginners sets. They're designed for rank beginners, so don't worry too much about that. Just find the tricks that you think would be best for you and the creators that have made them, and then that'll give you a good starting point. Okay, so the next question is, what do you think of 30 Seconds to Stun by Richard Sanders? This is from Stephen Devereaux, as it looks great, but there's no reviews. I haven't seen the actual product, so I can't comment. However, I do know it's based on a trick that Richard Sanders put out years ago on a DVD set called The Richard Sanders Show. And there's a trick on there which is very similar to 30 Seconds to Sun, based on what I've heard and what I'm reading online and what I've seen on the trailer. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it certainly looks like it to me. And if that's the case, and this is based on what he put on the Richard Sanders Show, I have to tell you that this is one of the best tricks ever created. It's absolutely amazing. And I know that some people will go, oh, that sounds a bit bold. It's not bold. It is an incredible trick that always gets an amazing reaction. So yeah, it's good. Okay, so the next question is Happy Pancakes, who says, hi Craig, I didn't post any questions recently since I got busy, but seeing the drama surrounding the Atomic Deck, I must post this. Although I didn't get it, I think the method is genius, and the second I heard people moaning about the quality of the cards, I started laughing, because as you stated in the video on the subject Imagine by Peter Nardi, the same concept of card quality as well as so many other tricks came up. Remember, the haters will hate even if you do come out with the Holy Grail. The haters will still find a reason to hate you. Keep up with your great work, and I think the future you should continue to make you and your fans happy, because we're staying. Together, the naysayers, by answering yourself to them, it just fuels the fire. Thank you again for all you do to the Magic community. You're more than welcome. Yeah, the Atomic Deck has been very polarizing. There's been a lot of drama around it. Luckily, the majority of people like it. A few people don't, but it is what it is. I'm very proud of the Atomic Deck. I'm very proud of what we've achieved. And, you know, at some point, I think that the people that are being negative about it will realise it as well. But it is what it is. You know, not everybody can love everything. I fully believe that the people don't like it. You know, they don't like it, but that's them. Okay, so Divishan Magician says, what's your opinion on doing an Elmsley count at the end of Stranger's Gallery to make even the original card change colour so that they all change colour? Do you think this is creative or just unnecessary? Honestly, Divishan, I think it's unnecessary. The original Stranger's Gallery is a beautiful effect. It really is. I don't think you add anything. I don't think you add anything at all by having, you know, one card apparently not change colour, because that's not the case. The fact that those 4 cards at the end of the routine are all different colours shows that they're all different, right? Especially as you then spread out the deck, and the deck is a different colour as well. So I honestly don't see there's a problem there. If you think it's an issue, or somebody else that you're performing for thinks it's an issue, then they can deal with that. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that's a problem at all. Okay, David Blaine says, dude, like we all said, you worry too much about what others think. Get off YouTube and social media and visit your family. I'm actually having a lot of time with my family at the moment. Thank you very much, Mr. Blaine. And yeah, I do care what others think. I do care. And I know I shouldn't, but I do. It's just kind of who I am. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do care what others think. I try my absolute hardest to please as many people as possible. And I know that's a character flaw, and that's not a great way to be, but that's kind of the way that I am. Okay, so Divishan Magician says, I won the Close-Up Magician of the Year at the Northampton Magic Club a few weeks ago. Well done, buddy. So I tell the clients during a sales call or email pitch that I'm a double award-winning magician. But how would you bring this up in a sales conversation? Would you literally just say, I won Magician of the Year at my local club? Or would you say that it's more of a subtlety, and when would you be typing it up? You were talking to a client that's phoned you with an inquiry. Hang on a minute, let's read that again. How would you bring this up in a sales conversation? Would you literally just say, I won Close-Up Magician of the Year at my local club? Or would you say it more subtly, and when would you bring it up? If you're talking for a client that phoned you with an inquiry. By the way, Gary Anderson at the Northampton Magic Club wants to say hi. Hi, Gary. Great question. Here's the thing. Okay, so keeping this very, very simple. When you're doing sales, there's something called an impulse curve. How an impulse curve works is I want to imagine a very simple graph. Along the bottom, you've got time, right? The amount of time that's passed. And along the other axis, you've got the you've got the impulse, how impulsed they are. Now, what I mean by impulsed is how likely they are to say, yes, I'm going to buy what you're selling, literally on the spot. Okay, that is the axis, right? Now, there's this thing called the impulse curve, and you start the conversation, whether it be over text, over phone, over email, you start the conversation at the bottom left. Right at the start. They're not impulsed, and you've spent no time talking to them. Now, a good salesperson will be able to drop information into a conversation that is designed to impulse the customer. Give them information to help them solve a problem that they know they have. And as you are talking to them and as you're pitching them, that's when you drop in conversations like double award-winning magician and stuff. And what's going to happen is you're going to get them impulsed to a point where you get to hear the optimum point on the graph. That is when you need to close. That is when you need to close. Because the problem with a lot of salespeople, and I see magicians doing this all the time, is they keep talking and talking and talking. And the problem is when you get to the top of the impulse curve, it goes down over time. So if you carry on pitching people and telling people how amazing you are and telling people you want them to buy you and God knows what it is else that you do, that's going to go down. And then if you get to a point where you close them there, they might not even close because they've moved on to something else, right? Or whatever the case may be. So the impulse curve is very important. You want to impulse people with as much information as you can, keep an eye on that optimal impulse, and then close them. Because the bottom line is if you close them and they say no, no is not no. It's just a request for more information. It's called turning a negative. You take that negative that they've given you, you re-impulse, you reframe, and you reclose, right? That's exactly what you do. That is basically sales technique 101. Now, what sort of information do you give them? Yes, you can tell them you're an award-winning magician, absolutely. But a lot of the time, the information that you give somebody should be more about them than it is about you. It should be more, you see, the thing is, whenever anybody contacts you, they have a problem and they are looking for you for the solution. The problem might be they've got an event, they need some entertainment, they don't really know what to get. They think they want a magician, but they're not 100% sure. Whatever the case may be, right? As you're speaking to them, you need to ascertain what their problem is. Why are they calling you up? What is the issue they have that's causing them to want to book a magician? And then you need to give them a solution to that problem before they even realize they've got that problem in the first place. And so telling them how amazing you are isn't necessarily a solution to the problem. If they turn around and they go, well, you know, I've seen magicians before and they're not very good, you can then go full on, I'm amazing, I'm brilliant, whatever the case may be. But different, you know what I mean? It's like you need to figure out what their pain point is and you need to give them the information. And a lot of the time, the information is not about you, it's about them. Let me tell you what I can do for your event. Let me tell you why your guests are going to be blown away. Let me tell you why everybody else books me. Let me tell you what, you know, all that sort of stuff. Really, people want to talk about themselves. They don't want to talk about you. So telling them that you're an award-winning magician, it doesn't really do much. Okay, so the next question is again from Different Magician, who says, do you think the linking rings move where the spectator holds the ring and you hold the key and it's like the spectator does the crash link themselves? By the way, in response to the Google Ads question, you said very good Archie, but I think you really meant to say very good Divishan. Yeah, I did. Sorry, buddy. I'm getting old. Right, in terms of the crash link, yes, I have a spectator hold it. I do a variation of the Pop Hayden linking rings routine. And in Pop's linking rings routine, the first thing he does is he gets the spectator to hold the ring like that. You come over, you do a crash link, you take the ring away, and it's linked, and it feels like the spectator's done it. And there's lots of other ways to do that as well, by giving them the two rings that are already linked, but they think they're separate. Bunch of different ways. Yes, I do. And it is more powerful when it happens in the hands of the spectator, because then they're convinced that there's no hole in the linking rings. That's the thing everyone worries about. You know, there's a hole in them. So there's two options around that. You either just do it and you have the right attitude, or you do what Ryland does, which is he uses magnetic rings. So the rings close themselves as well when he's performing it. Either way is absolutely fine. But yeah, yeah, I do that. Is there anything in particular you want to know about it? David Blaine says, great video as always. Was wondering if you can do a House and Wise on RBG by N2, N2G or the Pro set as well. I am doing more House and Wise. I've got another one coming up in about 2 weeks' time. We're halfway through filming that. The House and Wise series takes so long to do. And it's not something that's very, very easy for me to do, because I have to do a lot of research into it. But yes, there is another House and Wise video coming very, very soon, and we will be doing more throughout the year. Okay, so Stephen Devereux says, hi Craig, hope you had a fantastic week. Yes, thank you. How many tricks do you think you'll bring out this year? Wow, you're like a machine. I don't know, man. I'm a bit, I don't want to say I'm burned out, because that's not true. But the atomic deck stuff has kind of really, I've taken a hit on that, to be perfectly honest, in terms of it's really drained me. I've spent an unhealthy amount of time thinking about various different comments. I've spent an unhealthy amount of time thinking about what people have said. I'm a little bit demotivated. I turned around to Sarah, and normally I'm sitting there at night, every single night, and I'm like creating magic. I'm like, oh, this would be amazing. This would be amazing. I haven't sat there and done that now since the whole start of the atomic deck thing. I've been a bit, I think the best way to describe it is burnt out. It's going to go away. I know it is. But at the moment, I'm putting all of my effort and my energy into being creative for Ryland. So Ryland's putting this new act together for the Young Magician of the Year. He's hoping to do the Young Magician of the Year this year. And he has to qualify, so he's got to put an act together. We're putting an act together for that at the moment. And it's a very complex act. With a lot of moving parts, and I'm putting a lot of my creativity into that at the moment. There's loads of stuff that's coming out though, and I've got loads of stuff that I need to film. I've just taken a bit of a break since Blackpool. I know that Pete Nardi needs me at Alakazam, and I know you know, I've got more stuff to do with Penguin and Murphys. So I've got a lot of stuff that I need to film, and there's a lot of stuff that I need to do. I've just taken a step back this month to just recover from the, you know, the kind of the absolute beating that I got from the atomic deck. It's, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I will be back to it. I know I'll be back to it because I've got stuff that I need to finalise before I go to Penguin. I've got to go to Penguin again soon, and I need to make sure everything's finalised and in place for that, in terms of all, I know what I'm doing with that and all the tricks I'm doing for it. So yeah, what am I bringing out this year? I'll do a video on this at some point soon, but expect more from Alakazam, more from expect more from Alakazam, more from Penguin Magic, more from Murphy's Magic, and you might even see some stuff from some other companies that you didn't think I worked with. Okay, so the final question today is from PunCala, who has said, hi again, Craig, follow up to the invisible palm routine that I filmed for you. It's here, one click away. But if I say more, my comment gets deleted. It's titled Invisible Palm Aces, English subtitles. I hope I did it justice. Again, I'm fairly new to magic. Okay, so I've just watched it. I clicked on it and looked at it before I did this video. That is phenomenal. That is absolutely, completely and totally phenomenal, especially as you're new into magic. What I loved about it is all the sleights were super clean. I loved it. And I especially loved that you did it the proper way. Let me explain what I mean by the proper way. I see so many people doing invisible palm aces and bringing the packets together or switching the packets. So they put the first card down here, they take the first one off and they have two, and they show they have two here. And then they either bring these two over onto this packet, or they switch the packets, and I just don't like that. I love the fact that you made an effort to actually keep each packet separate, and that required more sleight of hand. It required more tricky sleight of hand, but it looked absolutely flawless. The moves you were doing were very difficult to do, and you did them brilliantly. You should be absolutely proud of yourself. I've seen many different versions of Open Travelers, Invisible Palms, Aces, and that's one of the best that I've ever seen. It was chef's kiss. Okay, we do have one more question. I thought that was the last one, but one more is here that I missed. Can you tell a new horror story that you haven't told on the channel? A new horror story that I haven't told on the channel. A new horror story. I don't know what I've told and what I haven't told, to be perfectly honest. I really can't remember what I've told and what I've not told. Okay, I don't think I've told this. So, this is very early on in my career. In fact, it was before I was a professional magician. I somehow got, so at the university that I went to, in the catering department, the university students doing the degree for catering or hospitality management had to put on an event in the restaurants, and they'd organised this really swanky event where they were like doing like making food at people's table and setting it on fire and stuff like that, and they asked me to come along and do magic. Matt, he's just arrived. Matt, come. I'm on the Q&A. I know we've got to go. Can I finish this last question?
We have got to go. Yeah.
Sit with me.
What are we doing?
I'm just doing the last question. People ask me to tell a horror story that I've never told before.
A horror story?
Yeah. Matt's been on the sales desk all day. Did we do well?
Yeah, not bad.
Sick. This is the last question. So,
okay.
People said, I'll tell you this. You've never heard this. So, when I was at university, one of the courses that people were doing was like catering management, hospitality management. Right. And as part of their like degree, they had to put on this really swanky like event in a restaurant and theme it to something. So they thought, as a lot of those students were friends with me, they'll put on a magic event and they'll get me to go around and do close-up magic. This is before I was professional. I don't think I'd ever done a gig in my life, or I'd done a couple of gigs and that's it. It's the first gig I ever did. I almost passed out. So it was this really swanky gig, right? And I'll never forget it. I was very young. I was very, very young. I had hair and all that stuff.
I don't believe that.
It was true. I know you look at. I promise you, we'll go. I just want to tell this last.
No. I'm getting text messages.
So this is exactly what happened. Everybody was dressed in like really fancy clothes, and there was this table of like 4 people, and I went over, and I started performing magic, and I was really, really nervous, but I was performing magic, and it was going really well, and everything was fine. And then the tables were really pushed close together. And they had this trolley that they were wheeling around to tables where they cook flambe on the table, you know, like the flambe stuff. Like They were cooking a fire going everywhere, and they were doing this at the table. And I was performing magic, and you know kind of how clumsy I can be, and sometimes I'm not aware of my surroundings. So I spin round. There's this woman who's kind of really not wanting to see the magic. Why she went to a magic event, I don't know. I also wasn't very good. I spun round, and this thing that they were cooking, while the guy was cooking it, that was on fire, I flicked it accidentally into this woman's lap and set her dress on fire. Now, as you can imagine, she was kind of freaked out. And I was even more freaked out. It was very new into doing close-up magic. And I was like, a million things raced through my head. And one of the things that was racing through my head was, this woman's on fire, I need to do something about it. And in my head...
You didn't piss on it, did you?
No, that's terrible. What I did is I was like, I was thinking straight, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to put some water on it, because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to fix this. And I couldn't find any water. What I did find, however, was a big... Like, it was not on the table, but it was on the thing they were flambeing. It was a big holder. It wasn't gravy. It was this sauce. It was like cold, tepid sauce they were having with their meal or something. I'm not really too sure. A long way to go. I grabbed this, and I just threw... Because she stood up now, and she's trying to pat her dress down.
Well, I mean, you did just set the woman on fire.
Yeah. So... I threw this thing over her. But in my stress, I kind of got it all over, including her hair and her face and everything. It put the fire out. She was covered in this whitey brown gunk from head to toe. Her dress was burned. Everybody was freaking out. The entire restaurant was freaking out. It was like this restaurant inside the university they used for these sort of events when students were putting things together, and yeah, it was like all of the really important people there, and I just completely covered her in. She was not happy. She was pissed. She was really.
Why are you telling this story? What was the question?
It was like, have you got horror? I tell horror stories on this channel. Sometimes, things that have happened to me at a gig that have been not good. That's probably one of the worst.
That's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, so she was, and I was so upset that I just kind of like left the event, and I didn't speak.
I would have too.
Yeah, I didn't speak to the people in the hospital. I don't know if they
What's
got
the point?
I don't think they got a passing grade on that event. I think it.
Did you get feedback?
No, I tried to avoid them for the rest of the time I was there at that university, but yeah, it did not go well. I set a woman on fire and I covered her in sauce.
That's not great.
Not great at all.
So if anybody thinks they've had a bad gig,
you haven't
remember
covered a woman in sauce and burnt her
Yeah.
alive. Yeah, it gets worse. Trust me, it can always get worse. Anyway, there we go. That's another Q&A in the bag.
right, we've got to go.
Hang on, I've got to wrap this up. This is the important bit. Thank you very much for joining me right here on Magic TV. Now, don't forget, I'm going to be back next Sunday with another Q&A. I'll be back at 9 o'clock tonight with a review show special all about my new book, Absolute Madness. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, if you want to join the Netrix, which is my online streaming platform for the Magic community, you can do so by going to thenetrix.com. And you can go join it and see what all the fuss is about, see what all the cool kids are there for. I will see you... You're supposed to be listening.
Why?
I will see you again soon. Me and Matt are off to Liverpool to pick up an illusion. We'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone. Matt says bye. Here we go. Bye, everyone. See you tonight for the review show special.